Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well, and thanks for those who are joining me today here live. It's the first time I go live on this page and on YouTube as well. So if you're not joining live, you might be watching this later, as I also post it. It'll be recorded, so I post it later on the channel. So welcome to all of you. Today we're gonna go over some lunar creative rituals that I personally practice every month during this time. The time of the new moon, and I usually practice them a day before the new moon, on the new moon date like today, and the day after. So today, February 27, is a new moon day. Usually it's a 3 days window when you can do these kind of practices. So first we will go through some new moon insights based on some research and astrological readings that I've done and that I've been doing for a while, to understand the influence of this new moon this month and some other planetary aspects. In my art practice, I try to, as much as possible, combine things from the universe, the planets, the moon, from nature, and use these elements in my artwork because they inspire me. And then after that, I will take you through an exercise to set your intentions, because usually during a new moon, it's the best time during the month to start something or plant a seed, a goal, and watch it grow over the next few weeks or over the next year. And finally, we will also do a relaxing, small, intuitive art activity. I will teach you something that you could do at home. So grab your favorite drink, relax and enjoy. And if you have any questions, you can share them in the comments here, or you can send them to me later on. And yeah, just feel free to comment in the chat. We're also trying to go live on YouTube. I just want to make sure that you're hearing me. I just want to make sure you're still hearing me on Instagram. So just waiting a bit to go live at the same time on YouTube. This way we don't have to repeat. Okay, so we'll start first with then the new moon aspects for this week. This week, actually, the night sky was at its darkest. I'm not sure if you noticed. So yesterday, on the 26th of February, it's known to be the darkest night. And today, as I said, the new moon begins, and it falls in the sign of Pisces. Now, since Pisces usually on the with all the other astrological signs, it is the last one, so it's on the 12th part in the zodiac. It's the 12th sign on the zodiac. This means that this lunar cycle now represents a time of completion or ending. And this new moon also invites us to focus on new beginnings and be open for these beginnings in the next 4 weeks. So this way we can reflect on what has been and release it, and then surrender to our intuition. And also it's important when we do that that we don't be fixed in our logical state or on our logical mind, but try to think from our heart, try to follow our intuition. This way also we can be guided by our spirit instead of being guided by outside things in our lives. It's also a good time to pause and count 10 times before making judgments or comments, or rush into comments, because then we might get into problems or get into data overload and let our minds really rush and help us or make us overthink. So this is a great time to really pause and reflect before speaking things quickly and irrationally or unconsciously. Yesterday, whether physically in India or all over the world, online we celebrated the event which is called Mahashivaratri, which is known as the night of the Lord Shiva. In Indian culture and spiritual tradition, it's a night of special spiritual significance, especially for those on the spiritual or yogic path. So on this night, they stay up all night, they meditate to try and imbibe the natural rise of energy in the universe, which is there during this night. This is why it's a time to let go of all our illusions and limitations in order to find something beyond and eternal, which belongs to us on the inside, rather than it having to belong to the world outside. Because whatever is in the world outside cannot be really ours all the time. But whatever we carry inside, we can have it with us at all times, and it can keep us grounded. Also with this new moon, we start the eclipse season of 2025. So it actually starts today. What does that mean? That means that in 2 weeks' time, on the full moon, we will have the first lunar eclipse of the year of 2025. So during this time, usually during an eclipse time, or the eclipse season in general, we may feel a sense of rush or urgency for no actual reason. And emotions are usually heightened. It's harder to focus on the present moment. Events may unfold quickly, and it's just a good time to remain grounded with yoga, with meditation, with spiritual practices, or even with, for example, being in nature, going for hikes or nature walks, being with the earth. This helps us to be grounded during the eclipse. And it's good to mention also that the planet of love and beauty, which is Venus, will be stationary on starting Saturday, March the 2nd. Saturday, March the 1st. And it will start moving backwards until April 12th. So Venus will be in retrograde from Saturday until April 12th. Usually during this time, based on what the astrologers speak about, they say that during the time when Venus is in retrograde, it's helpful to reflect on what we value, what we hold important, or who we hold important in our life, who we love, who we don't love as much as anymore. And we may be reminded of past lessons or past relationships, or we might want to audit or evaluate current relationships by seeing what our role is in the relationship, by making it work or not. So this is a good time to reflect on these aspects. Venus also rules the financial aspects, so it could be a good time to reevaluate our investments, expenses, budget, and things like that. Usually also astrologers advise that during this time, when Venus is in retrograde, that we do not make any big important decisions in relationships or finances as long as Venus is in retrograde. So from now, let's say from Saturday, March 1 till April 12th, it's good not to make big decisions related to relationships or finances. Now, if, of course, in the yogic culture, we don't really want to depend on the astrological aspect of planets, because we do certain practices to stay untouched from these aspects. But generally, like for most of us, some of these things affect us. Whether we like it or not, we are part of this universe, and the planets affect us, and we are very much connected to the moon and the lunar cycle and all that. So somehow we might get affected. It's just interesting to learn about it, whether we believe that we will be affected or not, whether we are strengthening ourselves so much as not to be affected or not. It's just, for me, it's interesting to learn about it, and this is why I'm sharing it with you. Also, it's good to note that in March, on March 14 until April 6, Mercury, the planet Mercury, will also it'll be stationary on March 14, and then it will start moving backward until April 6. So Mercury will be in retrograde for approximately 3 weeks. And during this time, from March 14 till April 6, usually the astrological advice is that during a Mercury retrograde, it's better not to sign any new contracts, start really important projects, or things like that. Also, there might be communication problems. So if, for example, you are sending an email or writing a text message for work or something that's important, it's good to double check it and read it twice to avoid any mistakes or problems. So yeah, as a recap, so today is a new moon. It's a good time to do intentions. Venus will be in retrograde from Saturday until April 12, and Mercury will be in retrograde from March 14 until April 6. So this month, like the last 2 weeks of this month, might be a bit intense in terms of planetary movements. And now, usually also other than reading these things during a new moon or full moon time, during a new moon, I usually like to do and to set intentions. It's not something that I personally do. In general, people who follow the lunar cycle a lot and try to live by the lunar cycle, they tend to do similar exercises. And this is what inspired me to create this journal, which I published on Amazon, which is the Flow with the Moon journal. And if you've been following me on this page or on YouTube for a while, you'd know that usually on a new moon, it's a good time in general to write your intentions or for whatever you want to focus on or create in your life, whether it's a short-term dream or a long-term vision. This journal, I launched it on Amazon last year, and it includes prompts and exercises that can help you write down these intentions. So I'll show you in a bit what I mean for the new moon. And it's basically a planner. Now, mostly I've had so many women interested in this planner. I haven't created one that is specifically for men, but a few men asked me. They wanted a black one instead of a red one, for example. So that's something I might work on probably by the end of the year. But for now, this is a planner that is very recommended for women, and women do enjoy writing in it. At least this is the feedback that I've got so far. If you want to learn more about it, the link is on my Instagram bio and everywhere else on the website. There are 7 different links on Amazon, so depending on which country you are in, you will be directed to the Amazon that is related to your country. And it's available. It's available in the print version. It's available in Kindle option that is digital. So you can, if you have a Kindle, you can write digitally. And it's basically a planner, but it's a guided planner. So it helps you on the new moon fill some template. On the full moon, also write gratitude lists, and it helps you also manifest whatever you wish to in your life. And it contains lots of illustrations that I've drawn and some motivational lines, affirmations here and there. So usually on the new moon, because so the planner is divided into three parts: the gratitude journal, the manifestation journal, and the lunar guide. So usually on a new moon, what we would do is we'd go to this slide. Now you might see it in reverse, But this slide says new moon setting intentions. You're seeing it in reverse. So how you start is, and you can do this like you don't have to have the planner. You can do it on a piece of paper, on your journal, in your notebook, wherever. On your phone even, you could just type it. But it's always better to actually carry a pen and write it yourself. Energetically, it's different when you're writing something yourself versus typing digitally on a phone. So I would recommend, if you don't have this planner, I'd recommend that you just write it down on a piece of paper that you carry with you. So whatever you write down during the month, you could go back and read them and get reminded of them. It's not like you write your intentions today and then forget about them for the rest of the month. It won't work this way. So here what is written, I'll just read it to you. New moon setting intentions. What you could start doing, like let's say this is the exercise. Set your intentions for this month. Think of your short or long-term goals. List your desires, whether simple or big. What steps can you take this month to make them happen? And this is just like, you're brainstorming. You write as much as you want. Whatever you wish to achieve, whether on your personal level, on your career, relationships, health. Sometimes it's just about you, not necessarily about the outside world. Maybe spiritually, maybe emotionally, maybe it's something you want to work on, a new passion project. Maybe it's a business you want to create, but you don't know how to start this business. Let's say, for example, it's a business. So you list all your desires when it comes to this business. Maybe it's a small thing or it's a big thing, doesn't matter. And it's good to be focused. So let's say you want to write that I want to open a restaurant by next year, I don't know, or I want to get funding for my business by next year. So it's good to be specific. And then you list what steps can you take this month, so something very practical that can make this happen for you faster. Maybe you can go to a networking event. Maybe you can call someone who knows knows someone who is related to the restaurant industry, who can connect you with them. Anything that is doable this month for you to do, the important thing is to start and to write it down. And then on the second page, like in this journal, there's a section, there's a prompt where you can write whatever you're most excited about in relation to this goal that you're trying to set intentions for. So let's say if it's about opening a restaurant business. So what are you most excited about? Decorating the restaurant, inviting your friends to it, hiring people. What are you most excited about? So it's a good exercise because it helps you establish this emotional connection with this goal, and it helps you create from a place and state of happiness rather than a state of hopelessness or helplessness. So if you really be in that state of, okay, this is something I want to achieve and I'm happy about it, and it's making me happy on the inside and I'm excited about it, then you write whatever you're excited about down. And this is good in manifestation, in helping you manifest it. And then we have a third, for a second, yeah. Then we have a third prompt here, which is a question to help you self-reflect. What have I always wanted to begin but never have, and what is stopping me? Because most often when we are writing intentions or when we are really thinking about wanting to create things or attract things in our lives, at the same parallel time, we are thinking about the impossibility of these things. Like, I want to open a restaurant. I will say this to the universe or to people around me. And then at the same time, I will say, but I don't have the money for it. But the country is not stable. Or, but now the economy is not, or, we will find excuses and we will start, talking about the limitations related to that. So in another way, what we could do is write down what is stopping us, like these thoughts, and write down what have we always wanted to begin related to this goal or project, but we never have. Like, Was there something we wanted to attend that we didn't go to? Is there a person we wanted to speak to but we didn't? So we can make a list of all these. And then it's important to also write down this month, from the new moon onward for the next 4 weeks, how will I practice self-care? So self-care is different for different people. Each one describes it in a different way. But why is self-care important? Because if you're not taking care of yourself, then you cannot create from a place of wellness. You will create from a place of need and anxiety, and then things won't happen the way you want them to. So if you do take care of yourself in the way that is comfortable for you, then you'll be able to really realize these intentions that you've written down. And self-care can be like yoga, can be meditation, can be going to do a massage, or going to the gym, or eating healthy, or being more around family instead of working after hours so much. It's really very personal. Each person has his own way to practice self-care. But this is what I would recommend before, like while you are going through the month and really revisiting these intentions that you wrote, to really take care of yourself in parallel. Now, so again, as I mentioned in the beginning, yesterday, today, and tomorrow is a good time to write down these intentions and to focus on them. And then during the month, you look back at the paper and you remind yourself of what you want to really achieve this month, or in the next 3 months, or 1 year, or 6 months. Because sometimes we write them, and this is a mistake I used to do in the beginning when I first started writing intentions, is that I'd write them and then the rest of the month I'd be doing other things. So my behavior and my actions would not really coincide with my intentions, and I'd forget about them. But then with practice, I started to be more emotionally invested in what I'm writing, and then during the month I will think about it again, and then magically things would happen. Someone would come and ask me something related to that, or an opportunity will come up. You never know how things will happen as long as you're focused on them and you really have an emotional tie to them. You know, you must be tied emotionally to it for it to happen. And it could be a good thing. It doesn't have to be emotionally draining. So this is for the setting intentions and journaling. If you have any questions at any time, you can just write in the comment or send me a direct message. And again, for this journal, the Amazon links are on my page. And I just want to say that for the YouTube, I think this video will go on YouTube just as soon as we end the live today here on Instagram, because we could not technically go live on YouTube. It's the first time I try this, but it's good that it worked on Instagram at least. I have more of you on Instagram than on YouTube, honestly. So now, how do I usually link art and lunar, aspects, or intuitive, or writing intentions in general? The way I do that is by practicing something called a mindful art or intuitive art. And on my page on Instagram and also on YouTube, you will see examples of mindful art or intuitive art, like what it looks like. And the way I started doing this was very accidental. And an example that I can give you that you might relate to, is if you think of a time, because I believe all of us are innate, like we have artistic abilities within us. We were born creative. All of us started drawing or coloring or doing something with paper and colors when we were kids, even before speaking, even before writing or learning the alphabet. So we all started with art somehow, and we were all artists. We still are, but most of us chose unconsciously to forget that. And an example of this is an example of mindful art or intuitive art is like, for example, when if you see yourself sometimes you're on the phone, and then most likely you're on a desk, let's say, and you're on the phone because if you're driving, if you're doing some activity, it won't work. But if you're on a phone and you have a pen with your hand, a paper, a notepad or something next to you, and you're going through this conversation on the phone, you will find yourself doodling or scribbling on paper. While you're talking on the phone, you'll be doing some marks on paper, doing lines, drawing circles, and sometimes it's a pattern. But you will see that you're kind of drawing something on paper while you're on the phone. So this is basically close to intuitive and mindful art. Why? Because you're not thinking about what you want to draw or what you want to scribble on paper. It's just revealing itself. The image or the pattern is revealing itself on paper. And with mindful art, the important thing is that the mind is somehow silent. Now, the function of the brain is to think, and the thoughts will always be there. But with mindful and intuitive art, what happens is that the mind goes a bit calm, or you just ignore it. So what happens is you just take a paper and you're just drawing something on there, but you're not thinking, what am I drawing? Like, am I drawing a flower or a tree or a portrait? You're not thinking. You're just letting the paper. You're letting the image reveal itself on the paper. And this is a really helpful ritual or practice from the other lunar creative practices. This is another practice that is really helpful to be done on a new moon, to simply relax, let go, and draw. And you don't need to be an artist to do that. So what you can do is, now on this live, I don't think we will have the time, but maybe on the full moon live in the next, after 2 weeks, we'll do it together. So I'll have a paper with me and I'll show you exactly how I would do it. But for now, I'll take the time to explain it so that next time I don't have to explain it as much. How do you do usually the intuitive art? You just take a simple white piece of paper. I have a notebook here, or a notebook. Like usually for these things, I would go small with like an A5 notebook. And it doesn't have to be like a big canvas. Whatever you have, just like a notebook with lines, no lines, it doesn't matter. You take a simple white piece of paper and whatever you're comfortable with, and you grab a pencil, a pen, or a brush. Also whatever you're comfortable with. I usually like to go with a pencil, and it's usually a sharp pencil, so I don't have to sharpen it all the time. I do it with a pencil, and that's what I'm comfortable with. And you just sit with this paper and you simply let go and let the image appear on the paper. So you express whatever you are feeling or thinking about on the paper without really thinking what you're drawing. A good way to start is to just close your eyes, focus on whatever you want to express. Maybe there's an emotion that you've been going through. You're angry, you're happy, you're sad, you're confused. You close your eyes, you take a few deep breaths, and then you open your eyes and start making lines on the paper or drawing shapes. It does not really require any thinking, but simply expressing. So this kind of intuitive art helps you release thought patterns and allows you to gain clarity and just relax your nervous system. There are many examples of such drawings that I have on my page. If you go through them, I've mentioned that this is mindful and intuitive art. And usually what happens is that you don't erase. So let's say you're working with a pencil, you're drawing with a pencil, you just let it flow and you don't erase. Because you're not trying to draw an object or like mimic something from real life. You're just trying to express something within you and you don't have to erase it. And this is something very helpful because in the creative process, it's always good to draw and go through a process without thinking of perfection and just expressing yourself on the paper. This is a very easy exercise that anyone can do. You don't have to have any experience with art, and it's very relaxing. On the next live, I will do something with you together, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. But if you have, again, any questions, you can write them in the comments here or send me a DM. Now, so I think before ending the live today, we might be ending a bit earlier than I've planned. I've got some announcements to share with you. So this week, I don't know if you've seen this on the Instagram page, I shared a schedule of art classes, which I'm going to be giving online and in person weekly. So there are group classes for everyone. There are classes for kids, for teens, for adults, and for seniors too. The in-person classes are happening in the Netherlands because I'm here now, and the online ones, like, you can join from everywhere in the world. And if you prefer private classes, they're also available. You just need to get in touch with me and we'll work something out. Usually the classes last for 1 hour, the online ones. And as I said before, I'll be live with you again in 2 weeks to talk about the full moon on Friday, March 14th, and discuss the planetary aspects by then. And I appreciate if you can eventually like this live once I post this video, once I post it on the page, or follow the page, or subscribe on my YouTube channel. It's called Prime and Flow. And thank you so much for joining, and hope to see you again soon. Take care and have a magical, creative new moon week. And don't forget to, whether today or tomorrow, to write down your intentions. Take care. Bye-bye.